be intentional about everything in life.
Welcome back, viewers. I'm here with Mr. Hendrix Ni Okuglova. We want to know, who is Hendrix Glover? How did you get it? So, Mr. Glover, thank you for your time. You were telling me how you now moved from Hotcast to a Salem secondary school.
Yeah. So it was around 4:30 in the evening. So I actually had to walk, and if you know, you walk through Lotteries and Hearts Park Stadium all the way to the place, because I wanted to see the place,
Right.
so that the next morning when I am going, I know where exactly I'm going.
Okay.
So I walked, and then I used to do something when I was young. I used to pray a lot within. I'm walking, but I'm praying. I'm walking, saying, God, turn my situation around. This is not. So I went there to see the school, and I came back home. And you won't believe it. It meant that evening I didn't go upselling for my grandmother.
That's right.
And then she really beat the hell out of me. And so and maybe that I'll talk about later. It also created some bitterness, but that's for another session. So I actually went to see the place, came back home to face whatever was home for me, because I had, from 5 years right up to 12 years, I had enough. I mean, nothing could move me anymore. You could beat me, you could just throw my things outside, you could do all that. I couldn't really be bothered. So I went up there to get to know the school. Came back home, I received what I was expecting. I was never disappointed.
But what makes a child of that age so determined? And from what you're telling me, you were planning your life.
Yeah, I was taking this.
You were taking stock of
Yes.
what happened
Yes.
in the years
Yes.
that's passed.
Yes.
And you were telling yourself, enough is enough.
Enough is enough. Yes. I couldn't
And you were
be
taking
bothered.
steps.
I needed to.
That's actually amazing.
I needed to. I was 12.
You were 12.
I needed to.
Wow. That is a very interesting story, and I believe this is to inspire somebody. So from secondary school, you're still with grandmother.
Yeah, I was still with my maternal grandmother. My paternal grandmother.
In brief, how
Did it
what
turn?
happened?
So I went to school, and paying my school fees was a problem. So I went to Salem Secondary, and it was the same thing. The following day, sat in the queue. The man came up to see me. I was actually the last person again, because he assumed. So they said next, and people kept going in. So they assumed I had someone, and I waited till last minute, around 4 again. And this one also came up and asked me the same question. And I told him. He looked at it and he said, where are your parents? And I told him, and he said, look, I'll give you admission. So take this and go and give it to your grandmother. I don't even remember him now. Take this and go and give it to your grandmother. And if she would bring you she would provide the things, fine. If not, come back and we will see what to do. So I went back home. My grandmother again, but the previous day, I didn't tell her where I went. And the second day I went, when I came back with the prospectus, then I told her. So then she realized that this guy, so she started to put me in the school. So I started school, and anytime I walked down that road to the new Accra, where I saw all those firms, there was even a stronger burden on my heart that the old Accra and the things that went on over there wasn't me, and this is me.
It wasn't me.
No, it wasn't
Wow.
me. So this is actually me. So I went to school. I remember I finished Form 1 and then Form 2. But what changed all this? I had a maternal grandmother who used to be within that same environment, but had moved.
Okay.
She had moved with all her children because she didn't think that was a good environment to raise children. Because at that time, her children had started having kids. And she took the bold step, bought a land in Buwashi, and then went and built and moved her girls. She had 6 girls and then 1 boy. And she moved them over there. So she went there to train her kids and all that. And the kids children's children, she decided that she was going to take responsibility of them. And I have this cousin of mine who is called Theophilus Ayi. He used to work with EcoBank. He's been with Barclays now. He works with GHL Bank in Ghana. He's been phenomenal. Every step of the way, this young man has been there for me. So he came over to Jamestown once to speak to me. I remember standing in front of the Usher fort with him. And I remember him telling me, raising his hands and saying that you need to move away from here. Nobody can come for you. You must run away from here because we have tried everything. There were times my maternal grandmother had come to come and speak to my paternal grandmother that I want to raise Nyoku. I want to, then he said no. He said the environment is not very good for him, but my grandmother said no. She insisted. So I had lived with her all this while. But this cousin came to me and said, you need to move. You need to run away. You must do that. And I said, what if I come and she comes over to cause all manner of commotion? She said, no, leave that.
The what ifs.
The what ifs. What ifs. So now I was in Form 1, I was going to Form 2. I didn't really act on that till Form 2 had finished and I think my school fees was not paid. And so I had to now take a decision. That was when I ran away. When I got there, 2 days, exactly 2 days, apparently my cousin and my grandmother had always worked to see how they could take me out of Accra once I came. So he had already, when I told him that I'll come, he had already started work. So he had gone to Cape Coast and he had gone to seek admission in Ghana National for me. So that was the major turning point. I did not stay in Accra for 1 week when I moved.
He had to take a day and he had to take somebody.
He had to take somebody. And Theo was the one who was, apparently he also lived outside that home. He was living with his father somewhere. And he had come to my grandmother's place. And I think now I understand, because when we speak now, he had an agenda.
Right.
To bring all our cousins who were not within, who were out of that and in Jamestown and in all those very difficult places and going through all manner of hardships. He had an agenda. Now I understand. Now he tells me he had an agenda. He wanted to bring everybody together because he knew that if we were not within the Accra, Jamestown, something good could come out of our lives.
So, this is an amazing story. Honestly, it's quite overwhelming. And he had an agenda. And now look what that agenda has done to you.
Yeah.
Would it be fair to say that in life, you always need somebody? You cannot do without people. Because sometimes we feel that it's okay to just neglect somebody. It's okay to treat people anyhow. It's okay to... He was a cousin, and I believe he was a younger person as well, not an adult. He didn't have the finance to help you, but he was quite or very instrumental, let me say, not even quite, very instrumental in your life. So, and it means that in life we need somebody, we need that one person who will take us from this step to the other step. And I'm just glad that you mentioned him today, because I have known you all these years as a very grateful person. And how do you think gratitude fits in all this? Because I expect you to be very bitter. And until you're telling me your story now, I didn't know. Because there was nothing about you that I could just look and say, this is a person who is hurt. There is a saying that a hurtful people hurt people. You don't hurt people. You are not ruthless, which is what I would have expected, and you have every reason to do that. So what effect did that environment create? Was there any point in your life where it had a negative effect?
Yes, it did. I grew up being a very bitter person. Okay. I grew up asking myself so many questions. Why did this have to happen? My parents had to. Why? Why did my grandmother, I felt, hated me so much and would treat me not like one of her children, but...
How did that affect your relationship with people, or how you respond to them?
So I realized, you would be surprised that in my home right now, I have adopted 3 children.
Okay.
I have adopted 3 children who live with me in to my my 4 kids. So my home for the past 15 years, I have raised other people's kids because I was bitter then. A lot of things have gone on, but also I have grown to understand that you always need that stepping stone. You need to give someone a chance. You need to create an opportunity for people. So where I work, I always look out for what opportunity I can give to people seeking to do their national service with us, people seeking to do their internship with us. I'm always, those who know me will tell you, always creating that kind of avenues, because it was the same thing that was done for me. So let me just tell you, when I came in, this young man took me to Kaneshi, bought all my stuff, labeled them, put me in a vehicle, and then took me to Ghana National.
How old was he then? Or what's the age difference?
5 years. 5 years.
So he wasn't too old then?
When I went into Form 3, he had just finished Addis Ababa, Upper 6. So he was around, yes, he was around 18, 19
so
years
we can
old.
all do something for somebody.
We can, if only we will look out for the good in others.
Wow.
We can, yes, we can, and that's why my eyes are always moving and seeing who I could possibly
help.
And you see, sometimes it's not the big things, it's not the money, it's the time, it's the listening ear, it's the direction, it is the giving your time to someone and telling the person that you can make it. Even if you can't help, redirect the person's path. You need to be there for humanity. Because if it hadn't been for this young man who saw the good in me, my maternal grandmother decided to also, and they put me, but let me say this, when I went into school, God planted me I became a Christian when I actually received Christ when I was in Form 3. I came into a group called Benifa. If you know, you were a member of Benifa. Yes, in Benifa, in Ghana National. Benifa. So I had Nino and he received me and then took care of me while I was in school. The age difference was not much, but these were people who really liked me. And the bitterness actually exhibited itself in many areas whilst we were in school. So the least thing I'll fight, because that was the way to actually let out the kind of what I had bottled through the years. And
so would it be fair to say that you cannot judge people based on what they do because you don't know the story behind their behavior?
I think that's appropriate. That's appropriate to do. If you always go behind or beyond the people, you would see what must have led them to do the kind of things that triggered it. Even though I didn't want to hurt people, I felt that this is the time for me I wouldn't let people walk on me anymore.
That's right.
You understand? I felt that it's not right for people to walk on me anymore. So I would actually push back. I had become a Christian, very zealous at that time to live by the Bible. So it was a difficult moment. I fought a lot. These guys, we used to, Burning Fire, we used to stand on stage anytime I misbehaved. I would be suspended for a number of weeks just to get myself back in shape. You pray, you fast, and I think that, you see, there's the fruit of the Spirit. When God actually comes into your life, the old things will certainly be, but it doesn't just start. It doesn't just get completed. It's a process that you need to go through. And it's very difficult when God is actually holding a particular aspect of your life that is not what He expects it to be. Just pulling it off. The pruning process. The pruning process is not an easy thing. I remember it took me a lot of years to actually learn to look and forgive. I actually say that, it doesn't matter, let it go. Benifa affiliated to Joyful Way Incorporated, a ministry that has been in existence for nearly 45 to 50 years in Ghana, and very vibrant still with evangelizing to the youth and all that. So Benifa actually fed into Joyful Way, and so that automatically led me into another group which is bigger. So during vacations, I started coming to Joyful Way with all my friends from school, and I was learning, and that was when God really opened my eyes to a lot of things. I was very timid as well, because
why are you?
Extremely. I know you are surprised that
Timid.
I was
put that by you.
I was timid. I felt that there were people who were more blessed, and I remember. So your husband was one of them. I admired a lot when we met in Joyful Way. We were very young, in our teens, and I had the Collins and the Arnold brothers and a lot of other very. Seth Kwame was my friend for a very long time. I'm sure you know him. So I had people that I looked up to who had their parents living with their parents, who at a very young age had a more organized home, and I looked up to them. I learned from my peers, but there were other people that I also learned from. I would mention, apart from Theo, who was also became a member of Joyful Way. I would mention Samuel Ewu. I would mention Kachepo, Mr. Christian Kachepo, Isa Kuma, Romeo Jan, Kojo Adenchi.
So you had a network of people.
God planted me. Let's say that.
Wow.
God planted me. God in my teens, I had these people by virtue of the secondary school, burning fire, and God had it all worked out.
You know, I read something from a sister online on Facebook one of the days, and one of the things she said about a year ago, and which has really blessed me, was, she wrote actually, she said, you have to be your own advocate, and that of your families. And I think that is what you did. Advocating for yourself is not about being loud or fighting for yourself, but it was more about you had choices.
I had choices.
And you had to choose.
I had choices.
And then God also.
Yeah.
You've been talking, it was God. But many times I see Christians make a whole lot of excuses as to why things are not working out. And it's always down to either one demon or the devil. I don't dispute that. I don't underestimate what goes on spiritually as well. But you seem to have been a gentleman who's worked hard and still work hard.
Yeah.
So how does that fit in as being a Christian, depending on God, and yet working hard? How does that work?
So you cannot, we must, even our faith, the Bible says that we should work out. We should work out our faith. And everything requires work. When you look at the Bible, the men of old and the prophets and the judges that God, there were aspects of them that had to be worked out before God would. God called Moses. God took Moses through the meal. But Moses needed to take a step. Moses saw all the reasons why he couldn't be who God wanted him to be. He gave so many excuses that he couldn't speak. God said, I'll provide for you a mouthpiece. He said, but I don't have anything. He said, what do you have in your hands? So there are choices that we make. Like you said, you need to at a point say that I see two parts. I don't want this. I want this. And remember, I had told you that when I was growing up, I wanted to be everything but what I was seeing in my environment. So it actually followed through. When I went into school, I looked and identified myself with the sort of people that I first of all looked for. The scripture union I joined, I had people there who had grown up with their parents and I could tap from. So as young as they were, I was ready to tap from. And I was ready to allow myself to be corrected.
Ready to allow yourself to be corrected.
Because I knew that there was so much that I didn't have that I needed to. So right through the period, I decided that I would learn. And I remember, I'm not the type of person who reads and it gets stuck on my mind. I would have to read and read and read and read and read. So I remember there were times when friends would be sleeping. They could, but I would go and then read because I need to get to that. So that transition into secondary school through the scripture union into Benifa, and then also through Joyful Way presenting me with all these people actually helped me to move on to that next stage of my life where I saw young doctors in Joyful Way, and that was one thing that motivated me. I'm like, I'm in the right place.
That's right.
If I will do God's work and associate myself with these people, then I certainly have a better chance of getting to where I wanted to get to in life. So I remember when I finished O levels with National, I went to Agri, I did my sixth form in Agri, and another phase of my life. I also in Agri, I had to go and look for admission, but then I was much older and more experienced. So I went there, and then I was able to. Even then, my dad was still not in Ghana, but my mom had found a way to the UK. So it was at that time. So things were just working out and shaping from that hard life where you need to sometimes even go and help the fishermen to get fish sell with my grandmother, and then be able to take care of myself, to a place where I was beginning to see abundance. I was beginning to see abundance because my grandmother, my maternal grandmother, was very positioned. She was, and I was beginning to see abundance. But let me tell you, all the things that I had learned, the scarcity that I had learned, how to manage the little that I had, so that's where you need to learn to abase and abound.
Right.
So the scarcity that I had gone through for so many years of my life and the difficulties, when I got to this aspect of my life where my mom had now traveled and would send once in a while stuff, and then would, so I had learned to manage. So then I was managing my life, my resources very, very well every step of the way. And I remember when I finished A levels, maybe that one, it took me 4 years to go into the university.
And was that because you didn't have the money to go, or was that what happened with that?
I had very good grades. But for some reason I applied to KNUST, I applied to Legon, I applied to Cape Vast, and I was turned down every year on year for nearly 4 years.
So you have lived a life full of hindrances.
Yes.
And all through the hindrances, you've broken through them as well.
Yes.
But I see a pattern of persistence, determination, hope.
Yes.
I really can't put my head around, honestly, I can't put my head around how a young child to a young man determines on their own to do that.
Yes.
And of course, we can only thank God for that, for such strength. Are your parents still alive?
Yes, my parents are still alive. My dad is still in Jamestown, Bukum, with a couple of my siblings. My mom, because she moved to London, she had 2 children, and here, and then with my younger brother, the one after me, also here. So 3 of them are here, and I just came to visit, and then came to visit.
Do you blame them for your childhood?
I have never. And that is something that I need to just touch on.
Yes.
Do not blame the people around you when you're going through any form of difficulty.
Okay.
Because all things work together for good. All things work together for good. If only you would make the right choices, if you would allow God to take over, you would realize that all the things that the people seem to have done in your life will add up to where God wants to take you to. So you cannot blame people. All the pieces would eventually come together to form a better puzzle.
That's a profound statement.
When you understand it all. Now,
the good and the bad, everything comes together.
It all works out. So you know me and the way I take care of my children, my family, and the kind of things.
I was coming to that. You're such a wonderful dad, a wonderful husband at home. You're hands-on with the kids, and I mean, this picture right here tells what kind of father you are at home. And yet, I know you live, I live in this country and life is busy here.
Yeah.
And I equally know that in Ghana now, life is probably busier than ours because you need to get out early and you come in. How do you juggle that with being that kind of father I have seen you become, plus you had no examples of fatherhood, the ideal of fatherhood, and yet you're doing the opposite. How does that happen?
Choices.
Oh, right.
Choices.
Okay.
Being intentional about it and making the right choices. Choices. It all comes down to the choices that you make. I told you from the beginning again that I have purposed in my heart that I will be everything rather than what I grew up seeing.
Wow. That statement, honestly, I find it so profound.
Yes. So my dad was not a non-resident father. I used to travel around. No, I mean nothing. I mean, apart from the few bits and pieces that I picked, it was not with me. But I said that I was going to be there for my children. I was going to learn to provide for my children. And when you know what is chasing you or where you are coming from, your level of determination is, so sometimes people say you are too forceful, you push too much, you put too much pressure on yourself. It's because of your background. You do not want, you see that the previous generation must end with you.
That's
and
right.
a new one must begin with you into the future. So you want to be there for you. You want to teach your children what an ideal father must be like, because they learn from us. When your kids tell you that Daddy, you are my role model.
Oh, yeah. That is a big thing.
It is. It's a huge responsibility the child is placing on you. You know that Daddy, you are my role model, and you're like, hey, what other things in my life must I work on to make sure that this child is having the right? So I'll do anything legal and right to make sure that these kids get the best in their lives. Yeah.
So practically, maybe that would be our final thing to talk about. The thing is, people want to become, but they are not able to. We both have 24 hours in a day. Practically, how does it work out that you're able to get up early in the morning, get out there, work so hard, come back and still make time for these kids as you do?
Okay, so I have a wife who is currently working from home, and who is also very determined to see the children grow up, one, in the Lord, two, to be the best.
Wow.
And so I think that also getting the right person to marry,
that's right,
also counts.
That's right.
And one of the things that I have realized that our lives, the way it has been fashioned, has made a stay home most of the time during the week. So when I go to work and I'm unable to come home on time to come and help with the homeworks and all that, I'll just find out what's going on. I like to feed in, and then when I come back, I get feedback. But over the weekends, I make sure that we spend a lot of time together. Okay. Even if I have to go to the office, I go with them sometimes. I'll take them into music. I'll make sure that I fit them in my day. My Saturday, my Sundays are for them. I will take them, we'll go to the markets together, we'll cook together in the kitchen. You come and find them.
You cook?
Yes, I do.
Oh.
I do cook a lot. I love the kitchen, because I learned that also from my when I'm growing up. So I think that you need to make, so in making the choices, you need to actually ask yourself, what can I do? What have I taught these kids? And so I also like to expose them to a lot of skills. So swimming, what's it called, music, football, if I have to take them to the park to play tennis, anything that I could get their hands on to. So we bond a lot through these activities, yes.
Wow. Thank you so much, Mr. Glover.
Yeah.
This has been a very interesting and insightful discussion. I'm amazed. Let's just say you're a man of many talents, and you break through the odds. You are determined, and the one thing I have taken is you intentionally choose your path. You intentionally choose what you want to stand up for. I feel honored to be sitting here talking to you. Thank you so much. Finally, is there anything you can say to a young man out there, or a little boy or girl out there who has found themselves growing up in an environment that is not conducive or is not the ideal environment, and they have no choice? By no choice, I mean they are not in a position to get themselves out. Can you just speak some hope into that life out there?
Thank you very much for the opportunity. One of the things that I didn't touch on when I was talking was attitude. I've spoken about the grace of God, the direction of God. I've spoken about all the providence and the way God navigates our lives. But one of the things that I have learned also, which has helped me both at home, in my social life, and then my work life, is attitude. Having the right attitude and making sure that you push the frontiers, irrespective, in the right way. When you work with people, you cannot cut corners. That is what I would say. As you grow up, you cannot cut corners. You need to focus on what you want to do. I've worked with them, so maybe that's before this role. I used to work with Barclays Bank for 9 years. And you work under somebody, you have to recognize that these are my leaders. What can I learn from them? How can I apply what I'm learning? With the right attitude, there's a lot that you can do for yourself. So I will encourage every young man out there to be very, very, to know what kind of choices that you're making in life. What are you choosing? Look at the two paths that are usually presented to us and make sure that you choose the right one. If you need advice, speak to people who can help you to make the right choices. Surround yourself with the sort of people who can help you to move towards your destiny and your purpose and where you want to be in life. And having the right attitude at work is very important. Don't work as if it's not my father's job if I work and no. Throughout my career, people have identified me to be somebody who has the right attitude, and they have been there to support me to get to where I am. So Chesca, I would want to say thank you so much for this opportunity also.
It's a pleasure.
And for me to share out there. But the choices that we make is what finally gets us to where we get.
Thank you so much.
God bless you.
Thank you very much, viewers. As you know, the choices that we make get us to where we want to get to. Thank you for choosing to watch this video. Thank you for being intentional about this video and sharing it out there. Share it on Facebook, share it on Instagram, share it on YouTube. Just subscribe if you haven't been able to subscribe my YouTube channel. Go on there and subscribe. Be intentional with Chesca, and make sure that you remember that it boils down to being intentional about the choice. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I'm glad to have you on here. I hope we get to have you here
Definitely.
again.
Yeah,
Thank you.
God bless you.
Bye.
Bye.